Right now, somewhere in the world, someone is carrying a bag that cost $3,000, and the person who made it also made the $300 version sitting in a warehouse in Guangzhou. The counterfeit luxury market isn't what it used to be. It's not knockoffs with crooked stitching sold out of a trunk. It has evolved into something so sophisticated that the people whose job it is to catch fakes are quietly losing. This is the story of how that happened, what it means for everything you think you know about luxury, and why the answer to the big question at the end might genuinely change how you look at your own wardrobe. Stay with it. The global counterfeit market is estimated at somewhere between $450 and $600 billion per year. Luxury goods, bags, shoes, watches, accessories make up a disproportionate share of that number. And at the very top sits a category the industry has quietly started calling superfakes. A superfake isn't a knockoff, and understanding the difference changes everything you think you know about the luxury market. A superfake is a replica so precise that trained luxury retail staff cannot identify it with the naked eye. The stitching is identical. The hardware weight is matched. The leather grain is indistinguishable. Some superfakes have passed authentication at major resale platforms. Some have passed auction house review. And a portion of them, the most troubling portion, didn't come from counterfeiters at all. They came from the factory. Here's how it works. Luxury brands manufacture their goods at contracted factories. Often in Asia, those factories agree to controlled terms, limited runs, serialized materials, monitored output. But a factory that can produce a $3,000 bag knows exactly how to produce that bag. The machinery is calibrated. The materials are on hand. The workers know every step. Some of those factories run extra shifts, use remaining stock, and sell the output through back channels at a fraction of retail. The item that comes off that second line may be materially identical to the one sold in a flagship boutique. Same hands, same thread, same leather. The pricing structure of the replica market tells you exactly what tier you're dealing with. Entry-level fakes, slightly wrong logos, mismatched stitching, sell for $20 to $50. Mid-tier, visually convincing to most people, runs $50 to $300. At the superfake tier, buyers pay $300 to over $1,000 per item. That buyer isn't looking for a deal. They're paying for something that will pass scrutiny from someone who actually knows luxury. That distinction, fooling a person who paid retail, is the entire product. So where does all of this actually come from, and how would you even find it if you wanted to? The primary hub is Guangzhou, China. Specifically, the Baiyun leather goods market, a district so large and layered that locals call part of it the village. Hundreds of stalls across multiple buildings, each specializing in particular brands or product categories. Serious buyers don't browse. They arrive by appointment, are introduced to specific suppliers, and leave with products that look, feel, and smell exactly like the real thing. Because in many cases, they essentially are. Authentication experts are struggling to keep pace. A study of experienced luxury resellers found misidentification rates for superfakes significantly higher than the industry wanted to admit publicly. The RealReal, one of the most prominent luxury resale platforms in the world, has had multiple verified instances of selling counterfeit goods at full authenticated prices. The platform has faced lawsuits over it. It kept happening. luxury brands are fighting back hard. LVMH, Kering, and Richemont spend hundreds of millions annually on anti-counterfeiting. Serialization. NFC chips embedded in lining panels. Blockchain certificates of authenticity. Digital product passports tracking items from factory floor to boutique shelf. None of it has proven foolproof. Some of those authentication systems have already been cloned or bypassed. The counterfeiters adapt fast, and they're working with the same source materials. The consumer experience of this arms race is stranger than most people realize. Third-party authentication has become its own industry. Companies charging $25 to $150 per item to review bags, shoes, and accessories for buyers who can't trust the platform they bought from. Some of those authentication companies have been caught making errors on superfakes. The entire verification ecosystem runs on the assumption that trained experts can reliably tell the difference. The superfake tier exists precisely because that assumption breaks down at the highest level of craftsmanship. LVMH, the parent company behind Louis Vuitton, Dior, and Givenchy, filed over 30,000 anti-counterfeiting cases worldwide in a single recent year. That volume tells you something about the scale of the problem. Even with that legal infrastructure and those resources, the superfake tier operates largely beyond practical reach. You can't prosecute inauthenticity you can't prove. And when expert authenticators disagree on the same piece, prosecution becomes nearly impossible. There's also a structural problem that no technology fully solves. The most sophisticated fakes enter the secondary market, not the primary one. When someone buys a pre-owned luxury item from a private seller, there's no brand-controlled authentication in the transaction. The resale market for luxury goods is worth tens of billions annually and runs almost entirely on the assumption that the seller is being straight with you. Platforms built to solve that trust problem have found themselves inside it instead. Several major houses have quietly shifted manufacturing back to Europe, partly for quality, partly because made in Italy carries a labor cost no counterfeit operation can match at scale while still turning a profit. It's an arms race the brands are fighting mostly out of public view. Here's the question underneath all of this, and it's one the industry really doesn't want you to ask. If a bag is made in the same factory by the same hands, using the same thread and the same leather, what are you paying $3,000 for? You're paying for the logo. You're paying for the story. You're paying for the social signal that comes with carrying something most people can't afford. That's not a criticism. That's exactly what luxury is. Luxury has always been, at its core, a manufactured distinction. The price isn't primarily about the cost of production. It's about controlled scarcity, heritage narrative, and the aspirational value the brand story creates. When a superfake disrupts that, it doesn't just hurt revenue. It threatens the entire logic that makes the price defensible to the person paying it. Luxury brands know this. Their most powerful tool against counterfeiting isn't any chip or certificate. It's the buyer's belief in the narrative. A buyer who believes completely doesn't need to authenticate anything. Doubt is the real vulnerability. Some of the most famous vintage luxury pieces circulating at private sales today have quietly failed third-party authentication, not in public press releases, but in back rooms between people who already knew and chose not to say anything out loud. The entire category of pre-owned luxury operates under a quiet agreement that nobody wants to scrutinize too closely. Buyers, platforms, and brands all benefit from trust in the authentication system. The moment that trust erodes publicly, the secondary market contracts and the premium pricing structure becomes defensible only to people who've never asked the question. The silence isn't just criminal discretion, it's market maintenance. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody's giving refunds. If this video made you look at your wardrobe a little differently, that's exactly what it was supposed to do. Like the video and drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to know what you think is actually worth the price.